And welcome back to the show, folks. Today we have, frankly, what is a massive day. We have a lot of breaking bombshell news regarding this entire ongoing situation with Jeffrey Epstein and the way that the Epstein files have been handled by the FBI, by the DOJ, and by the Trump administration. I'm getting everything set up here. Folks, buckle up. Today's going to be a wild show. It is going to be short and to the point, but we have a lot of breaking news to go through today. There's no other way to put this. What it seems to me is going on here, there was effectively a civil war going on inside of the Trump administration right this very moment, folks. We are talking deep state versus America First agenda right now. Now, I want to kind of give you a little bit of a tidbit of what we're going to be talking about today. Then we are going to go ahead and deep dive all of this. So thank you all very much for tuning in today. If you are new to the community, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the like button on today's video. But folks, wow, just as of a couple hours ago, we now have evidence to suggest, really evidence to confirm, I think a lot of people are saying, that the 10-hour-long Jeffrey Epstein prison cell footage, it's actually 11 hours long, 11-hour-long Epstein prison cell footage is actually highly edited, and it was highly modified prior to its release by the FBI just a couple days ago. The FBI said, this is the raw footage, unedited. Well, that might not be the case. We have some tech geniuses that are weighing in on this and saying, there's something weird about this footage. We're going to break that down. We have an entire report going over. That's one of the biggest bombshells of the day. Also, beyond that, reports are indicating that Dan Bongino, the deputy director of the FBI, a former streamer, a content creator as well, is absolutely pissed at Pam Bondi, who's our attorney general, at how this entire situation has unfolded, at how this entire situation has gone down. And now, allegedly, Dan Bongino is actually considering resigning from his position within the FBI because he is so infuriated at how all of this has unfolded over the last couple days. So, folks, like I said, this broadcast today is going to be short, punchy, to the point. We're going to break all this down, and I want to go ahead and get into it. Now, folks, a couple hours ago, like I said, there was this bombshell report coming out of Wired, which is a magazine and a website that goes over tech news, technical news, electronic news. It's kind of a magazine for nerds, to be honest. I like it, at least. I'm a nerd. Anyway, check out the headline here. Metadata, this is just a couple hours ago, metadata shows the FBI's raw, quote, raw, Jeffrey Epstein prison footage was likely modified prior to its release by who? The FBI. Now, this is a very long, very technical, very nerdy article. I read through this on my own. This is a very long technical read. So what I want to do, I've actually put together some bullet point notes, really kind of breaking all this down in a very concise and to the point way. So I'm going to go through all of the highlights from this article with you guys. This is going to blow your mind. The U.S. Department of Justice a couple days ago released a nearly 11-hour long, this is the footage, you've all seen it before, we've gone over this multiple times, 11-hour long surveillance footage labeled as the, quote, full raw, they said raw, they said unedited, footage from a camera near Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell the night before his death in 2019. The footage was intended to counter speculation about Jeffrey Epstein's apparent suicide in federal custody, because, you know, a lot of people have been speculating, have been saying he didn't take his own life. Somebody went in there and killed him. Okay, well, this footage here, released by the FBI a couple days ago, was supposed to dismiss that narrative. However, that has backfired. The 11-hour-long video of surveillance footage, which was said to be raw and unedited by the FBI, is actually verifiably two different pieces of footage that have been spliced together, likely using the video editing software Adobe Pro Premiere. And this is all information coming out of this bombshell report from Wired, and I'm reading off the key takeaway bullet points here for you guys. This metadata analysis by Wired, and also some independent video forensic experts, reveals the footage was modified, likely using Adobe Premiere Pro, which is video editing software, and then they assembled the video that we got, this 11-hour-long video, from at least 2 different source clips, at least 2. So this entire narrative of raw, unedited footage, 11 hours long, doesn't seem to be the case, folks. The FBI might have fibbed a little bit about that. The video was also saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to the DOJ's website despite being presented as raw footage. It was saved, edited, saved, uploaded. This video was all over the place. It was not raw, is what this article says, this Wired article. There's also a missing minute. Everybody's calling this the magic missing minute from 11:58 and 58 seconds p.m. to midnight p.m. or midnight a.m., I guess, 12, that a lot of people are speculating about as well. A media forensics expert noted the modifications look suspicious, but emphasized the DOJ's lack of transparency about the files processing. So with every video, if you're a real technologically literate type of guy, if you're a forensic video type of guy, you can take a look at the metadata. You can see where has this video been, how many times has it been edited. If you go second by second, you can see, has the video been spliced together? Is it actually multiple videos edited together? And that's what they've done here over the last couple days. They've been analyzing this video second by second, digging into the data behind this video. This is not making sense. It's looking fishy. The DOJ and the FBI did not respond to specific questions about the footage. They have issued no comment. A 2023 DOJ report highlighted technical issues at the Metropolitan Correctional Center with half of its cameras, including those in the Special Housing Unit, failing to record the events of July 29th, 2019. So who here remembers the narrative? In 2019, just days after Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his prison cell, we heard from this the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York. They said, listen, yeah, the cameras were out. We don't have any footage. There's no footage. There was a problem with the cameras, technical error, blah, blah, blah. Well, now we have this footage. And so that's a little bit incongruent. How did they say we don't have footage, but now we do have footage? Well, folks, let me explain to you what has gone on here. We've talked about this a couple times on my show already, but today we're really going to deep dive this because this entire situation is just getting freaking nuts. Somebody here is lying. Somebody is covering this stuff up. We've said this before. This footage here, this is a 5-minute snippet. You can see people walking around. This footage would have you believe, it would lead you to believe that this door here is Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell, because you see correctional guards going in and out of this one. This one remains closed the entire time. They wanted us to believe, the FBI and DOJ wanted us to believe that this door right here in the middle of the screen was Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. Folks, that is not the case. Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell door actually is not even visible in this footage. Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell is down on the floor below and around the corner. You can't even see the door, and I want to break that down for you and show you exactly what that looks like. We have a great write-up here. I want to show you this. Everybody pay attention. The first thing we need to understand is how the special housing unit is distributed. Every floor has 6 boxes or cell blocks that contain 8 cells each. Those cell blocks are stacked on top of each other. So you have 3 upper cell blocks and 3 lower cell blocks. Epstein was held on cell 220 of the upper cell block marked with the letter L. Guys, this is Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell right here in the red. Take a look at this, okay? The camera footage that we got, the 11-hour-long camera footage that we now know is probably spliced and highly edited anyway, the camera is right here, right in the bottom middle, looking, and you can see. Does that make sense? What you're looking at here is actually right here. Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell is down below and around the corner. So you can't even see his prison cell. If you stand in front of the cell block's gate entrance, you can see both of the secured doors to the cells on both sides and one utility pairs between them. This actually is the little block that Epstein's prison cell is in, okay? And Epstein's prison cell is just to the right off camera. Epstein's prison cell 220 is off screen. So you can't even see it. You have different angles here. So we know what I'm saying here is true. This footage is intentionally deceptive or actually, this is a great image, okay? Like I was saying a moment ago, this is where the camera point of view is. You can see everything in the orange here. This is the officer's station, and this is Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. You can't even see it. And this is another issue that's beyond the fact that now we have information from metadata information from Wired that is pretty seriously suggesting, maybe even confirming, that this video, the video we did get, the one that doesn't even show his prison cell, is highly edited and highly spliced, despite it not even being on footage. So this entire video, for like 3 different reasons. Let's go. This entire video, for 3 different reasons we got from the FBI, is bogus baloney for 3 different reasons. The first one, the video seems to be edited and spliced multiple times per this metadata report from the Wired magazine or the Wired website. 2, there is the magic missing minute. What happened with the magic missing minute? 3, all of that aside, even if there was no magic missing minute, even if the footage wasn't spliced, you still can't even see Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell in the footage at all. So it kind of doesn't even matter. This entire thing makes absolutely no sense. It's like they thought that all of us were a bunch of stupid idiots that weren't going to ask any questions. We were all going to say, oh yeah, okay, we trust you. We trust you, deep state. We're not going to ask any questions here. Guess what? This entire situation reeks. So that's the new bombshell metadata information coming out of Wired, and a little bit of an update on this bogus video that we were all told confirms that nothing happened to Epstein, that he took his own life. Baloney. I don't buy it. Nobody with half a brain buys it. Moving on. Let's talk about Dan Bongino. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino has taken a leave of absence following a White House dispute with Attorney General Pam Bondi regarding the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case files. Okay, this is a big situation. We have a lot to talk about here. We're going to break it down. First off, real fast, super chats. There was one up here. This is from Catherine. Says Trump needs to step in before this gets worse. That might be the case. We talked about this last night. It seems like Donald Trump, President Trump, is pissed at the way this is going down. It seems like he is getting involved, but information is still releasing. You know, we're kind of on standby with that. Citizen M says the government won't admit to taking out the head of a foreign blackmail operation targeting the most influential people in our society. And honestly, why would they? Listen, I'm telling you, okay, I actually posted a tweet earlier today saying this, but all of this information manipulation, deep state lying, deception, operations, and that's what's going on here. They're trying to lie to the American people. This stuff might have worked in 1950, 1960, 1970, 80. Guys, it's 2025. We have the internet. We're all smart. There's video footage everywhere. We can analyze the data. We've got listen, they're not going to pull the wool over our eyes. Maybe they were able to deceive and lie to the American people 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, before there was alternative media like all of us here on YouTube or Rumble or whatever else, right? They don't get to pull the same bullcrap that they've been pulling for a long time. People are not buying it. Okay, I think that is self-explanatory. And Pastor Mike, thank you very much. Good to see you. Thank you. Good afternoon. It's a nice Friday afternoon. Let's talk about this Dan Bongino situation. Dan Bongino allegedly took a leave of absence because he is not happy about the CNN had a breaking news report going over all of this. This is CNN. We have a lot to talk about here. Let's play this, and then we're going to really deep dive and break this entire situation down, folks. Stand by, take a look.
All right, this Breaking news. Sources tell CNN that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino has told people that he's considering resigning amid a major clash between the FBI and DOJ over the continued fallout from the release or lack thereof of the Jeffrey Epstein memo. Joining us right now in files, joining us right now on the phone is CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Fred, it remains to be seen if he actually follows through with what he has told colleagues. But what we do know is that Dan Bongino has told people he is considering resigning as the deputy director of the FBI.
And now you guys know for a long time, for years, Dan Bongino has publicly been outspoken. There's something fishy about these files. Somebody's playing cover up here. You got a lot of bad stuff, a lot of bad guys listed on these files. This stuff needs to come out. Dan Bongino has been a hardliner about this Epstein issue for years now. And he's pissed. He's right. He's rightfully pissed. He has every right to be pissed. He should be pissed. You should be pissed about this. Let it play.
Over the fallout that has continued ever since this memo was released last Sunday. The anger inside the MAGA base has only continued to grow instead of going away, as some officials inside hoped it would. And now our colleagues, along with Christian Holmes, Hannah Rabinowitz, and Evan Perez, we're hearing that he's considering resigning after they had this heated confrontation with the Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of this earlier this week. And basically there was a meeting at the White House where the FBI Director, Kash Patel, was there, the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. They were questioned about whether they were part of a story that there was basically some infighting over how this came out, and this memo that said we're not going to be releasing any more information related to Jeffrey Epstein. And I should note that we are told Bongino denied leaking any story to this outlet that it was reported on. But there has been a lot of...
Keep in mind, that 2-page memo that got released probably 4 or 5 days ago now, 2-page memo, joint memo from the FBI and the DOJ. However, there was no signatory. Nobody signed off on it. We don't know who wrote it, who specifically within these organizations wrote the memo. It got released to Axios. We're gonna take a visit to Axios here in a minute. It got released to Axios, which is, I think we all know, is kind of an anti-Trump news agency, in the dead of night at midnight or 11 p.m. Okay? Nobody signed it. Nobody signed off on it. The dead of night to Axios, which is a known anti-Trump organization. Who released this memo? Why was this memo released in this way? Who released it? Who signed off on this? What is this? Is this part of the deep state plan? What the hell is going on? That we can't overlook. That happened in a pretty strange way, folks.
Fighting between Attorney General Pam Bondi specifically and the leadership over at the FBI over who's to blame in this situation. I think the context here is obviously Dan Bongino, Kash Patel. They came from this MAGA world where they themselves had pushed a lot of questions about the so-called client list that Epstein had beforehand. And now the MAGA base is just not pleased or satisfied with what they've said in this memo that came out unsigned from the Justice Department and the FBI on Sunday night. So what we are told is Dan Bongino did not show up to work today, that he is essentially not there out of protest. But whether or not he actually follows through on this still remains to be seen. We're still reporting that out. But it just speaks to the backlash that the White House is very much feeling and understanding after this memo came out, despite President Trump the other day in the cabinet room asking, who still cares about this? One thing we know is the MAGA base certainly does.
The MAGA base does. We do. This is part of this ongoing story. We're trying to put all these little breadcrumbs together and figure out what the hell is going on here. So, folks, I apologize. I don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. What it seems like right now, we're hearing murmurs and whispers that President Trump is pissed that this was not the way that President Trump wanted this to be handled. President Trump is not happy about this memo. We, the public, don't know who even released the memo. Now, the White House has not denied the memo. They haven't said, oh, that memo's fake news. They haven't said that. They have not said that. In fact, Pam Bondi pretty much, she doubled down on it. Pam Bondi doubled down on it. Rumor has it President Trump is pissed right now. Now, I want to play for you guys a clip of Dan Bongino from 2 years ago. He was on the Timcast, on the Tim Pool podcast, where he talks about kind of his experience with this Epstein stuff, why it's so important So I'm going to play this here. Then we have a lot more to talk about today, folks. So take a listen to this.
I get a call, I don't know, about 4 years ago. It's from, let's say, a friend, prior line of work thing, right? Guy.
This is 2023, 4 years ago. That would have been 2019, around the time Epstein passed away mysteriously in prison, just for the timeline here. Okay.
He says, listen, and this guy who calls me is an unimpeachable source. This guy's not like some ham and egg or tomato can guy throwing out some theory about a UFO he saw 72 years ago, whatever. This is like a legit, no nonsense guy. Guy you trust with your, wife, kid, and car, right? He says, I got sent on a temporary assignment once. And on that assignment, I got sent out with on the WCD detail, William Clinton detail.
Okay.
And I knew this guy well. And he says, Dan, I got to share this with someone. He said, I go on a plane and Bill, Clinton gets on the plane with this guy. And it turns out later the guy's Epstein. Now, this guy I'm talking to, this source, he don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is. He's just getting on the plane doing the thing, the whole, protection gig, right? He says,
Security
I get on
guard.
the plane and there are these girls who are obviously not of age who are on this plane. They're clearly young. These are not women. These are girls. And he says, I see Clinton disappear into the back he goes, I don't know what happened. I'm not saying what happened because all I know is he disappeared and these girls were back there or whatever. And he said they land at the next stop, wherever it was. And he goes up to the boss on the detail and he says, I ain't getting back on this plane. Because he's a temp. He's not used to whatever Clinton was up to with the whole shenanigans thing. And this guy's clear as the driven snowman. He don't want to mess around with this. He says, whatever just happened back there, I don't want any piece of it. They sent him home. They sent that guy home. And he was never tempted to that detail again. Now, remember, all those Blackberries on that detail. Here's where the story gets super weird. The guy tells me, months or a couple weeks later, when you lose property in the Secret Service, an email goes out. It'll say hey, I lost his phone. And it gets logged into NCIC or whatever it is. And everybody knows. So basically, if you find this guy's gun, God forbid, or his phone, it's now effectively stolen property, right?
Okay.
All of a sudden, all the Blackberries on that detail for the agents start showing up oh, this guy lost his BlackBerry. Holy shit. Wow, that's so crazy. How'd that happen? I'm like, no. He says, yes. He says it was the craziest thing. Oh, look, Agent Joey Bag of Donuts, missing BlackBerry. This is around the whole time, the Clinton thing's going on. So fast forward this story, right? He tells me that
strange.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission.
So just real quick, this is just one clip, and he's not even done talking. He's talked about this stuff for a long time. Dan Bongino knows the type of evil, terrible stuff that's been going on with Epstein and all of Epstein, all of his associates, people like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, the British royal family, God knows who else. A lot of people Epstein had. There are thousands of victims. So you can only imagine hundreds or thousands of clients as well that these young women are being trafficked to by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Dan Bongino knows. He knows. And so if Pam Bondi and who knows who else, Kash Patel maybe, if they're in on the cover up, if they're saying, listen, Dan Bongino, we know you're mad, but we're going to move on. We're not touching this anymore. Dan Bongino's pissed. Dan Bongino was not happy about this.
To share it, but the short story, but not who they are. Says, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure
intelligence
that
asset.
He's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. But this person, who's a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right? Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So the point is, to some.
Well, real quick. Okay, so he says, I don't know which Middle Eastern country, which country in the Middle East. It's a country in the Middle East. We know Ghislaine Maxwell, her father was a Mossad spy. Mossad is the intelligence agency of Israel. Ghislaine Maxwell was the daughter of an Israeli super spy. Literally, he was an Israeli super spy. Does that definitively mean that Epstein was an agent of Israeli intelligence or something? I don't know. It could be Saudi Arabia. It could be Qatar. It could be the United Arab Emirates. It could be Iran. There are a lot of countries in the Middle East. Okay, who knows which countries specifically, or he even says plural, countries, maybe multiple.
What up? How do you know some of these countries aren't going to some of these power players who aren't making decisions? Because, hey, you wouldn't want this video out there, right?
Very curious. Very curious. And so, by the way, what did we hear from this joint memo a couple days ago from the FBI and the DOJ? The joint memo very clearly said, there is no evidence of a blackmail operation. Nothing Epstein was doing at all had anything to do with blackmail. Really? Really? Because we know he had videos, we know he had cameras, audio recorders everywhere on the plane, in the penthouse, on the island. Every single property this guy owned was rigged up with cameras and video surveillance. He had CDs, DVDs of footage that we know the FBI apprehended all this footage. We know that he had VHS cassette tapes. We know he was getting footage. What was he doing with it? I guess they're telling us nothing blackmail. No blackmail at all. Now, before we move on, I want to take a look at the super chats here. Hope and Scope, thank you that's a massive super chat. Thank you very much. And thank you everybody here for tuning in. For real, make sure to like today's video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. We have a lot more bombshell news to go through. We're just getting started. Thank you very much. Dan Bongino abandoned his signature. They're telling you a story, not the story narrative. He needs to resign and come clean. I don't know anything about that. I'm not sure. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that might be what's going on here. And we're going to keep on breaking this down. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have Chris here. Chris says Israel would never do that. Stop the allegations. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much for that super chat. Materion says, if Israel's been messing with America, it will change everything if they get caught. If you just want to go extreme, hyperbolic, hypothetical here, Israel is very closely tied to America. There's no doubt about that. Israel has a lot of support from Americans and vice versa. And yeah, that if extreme hypothetical here, if Israel was complicit in blackmail harvesting on the American political elite, it would make sense why the information is not getting released, because then that would blow up the entire relationship, and a lot of people don't want that, obviously, right? So as an extreme hyperbolic hypothetical here, who knows? Okay, then you have another thing here. I want to take a look at this super chat from CG. Says Epstein's GF had ties to Israel. The guy who gave him his money was tied to Israel. The old PM of Israel used to visit his home. You know what? This sounds like Qatar. Yeah, I can't believe that Qatar would do that. Yeah, that's nuts. That or maybe United Arab Emirates also. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, this is, folks, take a look at this. Okay, we're going to point for point break down everything we know about Dan Bongino, what he's doing today, because all of this is breaking news right now, and he is pissed. We have a lot of stuff to work through. This is the scoop on Bongino. FBI's Dan Bongino clashes with Attorney General Pam Bondi over handling of the Epstein files. Deputy Director Dan Bongino took a day off from work Friday, that is today, after clashing at the White House with Attorney General Pam Bondi over their handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. 4 sources familiar with the conflict reported to Axios. 4 different sources, allegedly. Why it matters. The dispute erupted Wednesday amid the fallout of the administration walking back its claims about Epstein by determining the convicted sex offender didn't have a celebrity client list. This is fake news. This is bullcrap. Pay attention here. Pay attention. Guys, we read this 2-page memo up and down 3 times over, 5 times over. The memo did not say there was no client list. That is fake news. I don't know why everybody is saying that. To be clear, the memo, the joint memo from the FBI and DOJ from a couple days ago, it did not say there's no client list. It said there's no incriminating client list. It was it chose its word. They chose their words very carefully. They said, go read the memo. There's no incriminating client list. Not that there's no client list. They said there's no incriminating client list. What does that mean? That means there is a client list, but the DOJ or the FBI, they have determined there's nothing incriminating on it. And so therefore, you, American citizens, don't get to see it. That's what they said. I'm seeing everybody parrot this. They said there's no client list. Wrong, lie, fake news. That's not what they said. They said there's no incriminating client. That's a big freaking difference. We got to get that right. That's a big deal. They put that word in there very specifically. Bongino did not come to work on Friday, leading some insiders to believe he had quit. But administration officials say he's still on the job, even as the internal tension over the Epstein case continues. At the center of the argument, a surveillance video from outside Epstein's prison cell that the administration released, saying it was proof no one had entered the room before he took his own life. And we know that's baloney, because now we're hearing from the metadata of this video, as reported by Wired. We just went through this, that the video has actually been sliced together multiple times. Okay. There was also the magic missing minute. Also, you can't even see the entrance to Epstein's prison cell in the video. This video is a rotten fish. This video means nothing. The video means nothing. This is intentionally deceptive footage. They're trying to lie. Moving on. This 10-hour-long video had what has been widely called a missing minute, fueling conspiracy theories in the MAGA online world about a cover-up involving Epstein's death. Listen, guys, I'm going to be honest. You call me nuts. You call me a crazy person. Pretty much every single conspiracy theory that has popped up over the last 5, 10, 15 years has pretty much been proven to be true. Give it enough time and it's true. And I'm not saying like flat Earth. The Earth is flat. The moon landing is fake. No, I'm talking like COVID lab, Wuhan virus, like all this stuff, COVID vaccine stuff. Okay, Epstein stuff. Listen, guys. A lot of this stuff that was once conspiracy theory, the whole ivermectin thing, it's horse paste. You got to be stupid. It's made for horses. All this stuff, right? Listen, hey, give it a couple years. A lot of these conspiracy theories, it's only a matter of time before they are proven to be true. So what are they saying now? It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, okay, give me a break. Give me a break. The quote, missing minute, authorities say, stemmed from an old surveillance recording system that goes down each day at midnight to reset the record anew. It takes a minute for that process to occur, which effectively means that 60 seconds of every day is not recorded. So I guess Axios did not get the word from Wired that the metadata of this video stinks to high hell, to high heaven, whatever, stinks to someplace. It's not making sense. This video is bogus. Bongino, who had pushed Epstein conspiracy theories as a MAGA-friendly podcast host before President Trump appointed him to help lead the FBI, had found the video and touted it publicly and privately as proof that Epstein had not been murdered. So guys, the entire narrative that Epstein did not take his own life, Epstein did not take his own life, is built upon this bogus video. What is the proof that the FBI and the DOJ is using to make the argument that Epstein did not take his own life? It's this video. The entire case rests on this video. Well, guess what? This video is bull-pocky. It's bull-pocky. This video is bogus. The conclusion, shared by FBI Director Kash Patel, another conspiracy theorist turned insider. Man, Axios. This website sucks. Man, Axios sucks. Everybody that disagrees with the official narrative is a conspiracy theorist. They're all crazy. Yeah. Okay. Conspiracy theorist. Yeah, okay. This website sucks. Kash Patel is another conspiracy theorist, angered many in Trump's MAGA base. Criticism that increased after Axios first reported that about the video in the released memo. Now we get to Laura Loomer. The MAGA influencer Laura Loomer, a critic of Pam Bondi, first reported on Friday, that's earlier today. We're going to take a look at what she said here in a moment. She reported on Friday on X that Bongino left work and that he and Patel were furious with the way that Bondi has handled the case. Okay, according to Laura Loomer, it's not just it's not just Bongino, but also Kash Patel are absolutely furious with Pam Bondi over the way that this situation has unfolded. Okay, let's see what Miss Laura Loomer has to say about this. Here's the scoop from Laura Loomer. FBI Director Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are absolutely livid with Attorney General Pam Bondi over her DOJ memo and the lack of transparency from her office regarding the Jeffrey Epstein files. Sources tell me that Dan Bongino has taken the day off today from his job as Deputy Director of the FBI, and there's now speculation on whether or not he will return to his job at the FBI over his disgust with Blondie's lack of transparency and handling of the Epstein files. Pam Bondi has brought total embarrassment to President Trump, J.D. Vance, Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel. She also lied to the American people. This is coming from Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer is not happy. She does not like Pam Bondi. I'm being told that Kash Patel and Bongino are furious with Blondie and the blowback she has caused them with her lack of transparency. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino should call for Blondie's public resignation today to save themselves and to also push for full transparency into the Epstein files. This is an issue the American people deeply care about. Someone needs to be fired for this. Giving Blondie courtesy to resign is more than she deserves. Trump should fire her. What are the odds here that Trump is actually just kind of hands off and he's just letting these guys take care of business? What are the odds Trump isn't actually directly overseeing any of this, and really it's all the FBI and the DOJ, that they're just running their own show, and Trump is like, hold up, hey, wait a minute, what do you got? What are you idiots doing? What are you freaking idiots, Pam Bondi? What the hell are you doing? And that maybe Trump was caught off guard. Trump was blindsided by this. Could be the case. I don't know. We don't know how directly involved Trump is with this entire situation. Now, if I'm going to throw some gasoline here onto the conspiracy fire real quick. You might remember President Trump's original pick for Attorney General was who? It was Matt Gaetz. The second President Trump announced that he wanted Attorney General Matt Gaetz, the entire deep state apparatus came crashing down on Matt Gaetz. They launched this whole libelous defamation campaign. They tried to destroy his life. They're digging through his history. They're doing every single thing they can to besmirch the name of Mr. Gaetz, trying to get him out of there. We cannot have Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. You got to pick somebody else, Trump. It's not going to be him. And then they subbed in Pam Bondi. And then they got rid of Gaetz and they subbed in Pam Bondi. Well, okay, here's a question. Why did the deep state hate Matt Gaetz so much? Why did they not just hate Matt Gaetz? You can't have Matt Gaetz, Trump. Here, you should take Pam Bondi. Deep state here, we highly recommend Pam Bondi. A little bit curious. Makes you think about that a little bit, doesn't it? Somebody needs to be fired for this. Giving Blondie the courtesy to resign is more than she deserves. Trump should just fire her. This is coming from Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, she's a little bit kooky sometimes, but she genuinely is. She's a DC insider. She's got her connections here. I've got no connections. Now, Michael P., I want to read this big super chat here. Michael P., thank you very much. He says, where is the Secret Service records for Bill Clinton's trips to Epstein Island? Secret Service must do checks on anyone expected to come into contact with protectee. It is known that Maxwell has a list, so no list is bullcrap. I mean, yeah, we know that Maxwell had. They called it her little black book. Maxwell's little black book. We know that it's out there. We're being lied to, folks. Give me a yes in the chat. We are being lied to. We're being lied to. They are trying to execute another classic deep state cover-up, as they have done numerous times throughout American history. This time, they're getting fact-checked. They're getting pushed back on right now in real time by America First patriots like us. Okay, we're not going to let it fly. This type of information manipulation, this type of, these deception operations, I've said this before, but this stuff, this might have worked in 1970 and 1980 and 1990. These days, guys, we can check the metadata. We've got the internet. We're all critical thinking. Our brains are on. We've been lied to one many times. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We're not getting fooled anymore. We are not putting up with this. And if you, I'd be curious to know what percentage of Americans believe the official narrative from this joint FBI DOJ memo that came out 2 days ago. What percentage of Americans looked at that memo and said, "Oh yeah, I believe that. Oh yeah, I totally trust that." Like 1%, like 0%. No, but the point is, nobody is buying this. Nobody is buying this, and the American people, it's like, Caitlin Collins said this. I hate to agree with Caitlin Collins of CNN because she's such an idiot, but she said it best a moment ago. She said, Americans are not getting over this. Very clearly, Pam Bondi, the DOJ, they had hoped that we would just move on with our lives and stop talking about it and just get over it. It's not a big deal. Wrong. It is a big deal. We are going to keep talking about it. We're not going to get lied to here. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing here. Now, this is another little side story as it relates to all of this. This is a woman. She's a streamer, YouTuber, content creator. Her name is Liz Wheeler. This woman right here. You might remember because she was a right-wing influencer in February when Pam Bondi called out, they summoned all these right-wing influencers down to the White House, and they released the Epstein files phase 1, as they called them. As it would turn out, that was actually the only phase. It was phase 1 out of 1. So Liz Wheeler showed up. She was called down to the White House to be a recipient of these Epstein files, phase 1 of the Epstein release. So she actually had some sharp words here last night on News Nation talking to Cuomo. Take a look at what she had to say. Let me turn my headset back on here. She is rightfully pissed off about this also. Here we go. Flip this thing on. Okay, folks, take a look at this here. Turn up the audio.
I was at the White House that day when Pam Bondi gave out those white binders. I was one of the ones who received that binder. So when you say before I'm invested in this, yeah, I am invested in this because what she did made me look like I was adding to some kind of clickbait weirdo influencer thing online, which I don't do. People that watch me know I'm very prudent. I don't engage in hot takes. And I gave her the benefit of the doubt. You give the benefit of the doubt to people on your own side. I thought, okay, I don't know why she gave us those binders if she didn't have good stuff in those binders, but she said there was another story. A whistleblower told her there were truckloads of documents. Hopefully she'll produce. And I gave her time. I was patient. I gave her.
To be fair to her, to be fair to all of these influencers here, I suppose, all of them, I don't know all of them by name, but anyway, to be fair to these guys, Trump has been in the White House for a month and a half at this point. It's the middle of February. If you get a call from the Trump admin from Pam Bondi that says, "Hey, listen, we want to offer you a personal invitation down to the White House to be a part of this big groundbreaking information release," you're going to say yeah. You're going to say yes. I mean, like these guys, they didn't know that this was going to end up being a big bull crap nothing burger, right? Of course they're going to say yes. They had no idea going down there what the hell was going on. This is on Pam Bondi here.
Give her the benefit of the doubt. But here's the thing, Chris. That day in the White House, Pam Bondi bragged about making that cover sheet on that binder that you're showing on the screen. That cover sheet that reads the most transparent administration in history. Epstein files phase 1. She told us she made that. She printed it. She put it in that binder. How can you square that behavior with what she posted on the Department of Justice website on Sunday saying, actually, there's nothing here?
She made it herself. Pam Bondi personally put together these binders. The image on the front, we zoom in here, it says, "The Epstein Files, Phase 1, put together by Pam Bondi personally." And it was a load of bull crap. Is Pam Bondi a nincompoop? Do you think that she could feed Americans a bunch of nothing burgers and that we would be satisfied? It's like, hey, everybody, come on over to my barbecue here. I'm cooking up burgers, and then Pam Bondi hands you a plate, and it's just two buns. No sauce, no patty, no cheese. It's just hamburger buns. This is a nothing burger. There's nothing on the burger. Did Pam Bondi think that she was going to be able to get away with that and that we would all, "Oh, thank you, Pam Bondi. Oh, wow, this is a great burger." What the hell was she thinking? Did she think she's going to be able to get away with this and that nobody's going to ask any questions? Take a look at the super chats here. We have a big time super chat here from Jens was Burner. Jens was Burner, thank you. If we believe there is a deep state, then it is hard to believe that the list, evidence, sources has been manipulated, destroyed, or changed or redacted to the point that the truth is hard to know. This is another, if you want to go down this route, it is entirely possible that all of this stuff has been deleted by now. However, let me argue again, let me devil's advocate myself here. If the Epstein situation was in fact a blackmail harvesting operation, and Epstein and whoever he was working with was able to harvest blackmail on dozens or hundreds of senior ranking members of the American government, of the American ruling elite, Hollywood celebrities, who knows who else, are they just going to delete all of that blackmail? That blackmail is worth $1 billion, $1 trillion as far as the Epstein people are concerned, whoever he's working with, right? Are they just going to delete 20 years worth of blackmail? I don't think so. And so I think this stuff is still out there. I don't think it's all been scrubbed from existence. Keep in mind, Dan Bongino in this clip we watched a little bit earlier in today's broadcast, this one here, what he said 2 years ago was that, hey, it's a mistake to think that only Epstein is the guy with the video footage and the names and the lists. Epstein is not the only one that has this stuff. It's a big mistake to think he's the only one with the footage, because he's working for somebody else. He's working with somebody else. So even if Epstein, he's like, oh man, I'm going to get caught, I got to delete all my files, somebody else has it. That's my bet. I think this stuff is still out there. I hate to say it, but I think it probably is. And thank you, Mr. Burner. Thank you. Massive super chat here from Mr. CA. No, need to blame everybody. The buck stops with Trump. He needs to do the right thing. This is what we were talking about yesterday. We're hearing more information about this today. Seems like Trump is pissed at the way this is being handled. In fact, we might right now you're seeing rumors that Pam Bondi might be getting let go, that she might be the sacrificial lamb, so to speak. But here's the deal. Let's say Trump gets rid of Pam Bondi and she is the fall guy. We're told that, okay, we're supposed to be angry at Pam Bondi and nobody else, and she's been fired now. Case closed. It's done. Does it work? Is it that simple? Is it actually case closed? Don't think so. I don't think so. Even if Pam Bondi, gets fired and let go, and Trump says, this is Pam Bondi's fault. Is it over? Is this done? Are the American people satisfied with that? Is that a nice, clean resolution to this entire situation? Nope. It doesn't fix the problem. So thank you very much. Thank you. Maybe Pam Bondi was fed a nothing burger too. Dude, it is. This is one of these conspiracies, or one of these ideas, one of these topics here. You could take all of this a million different ways. Okay. What I'm trying to do here is just relay all of the breaking news information to you. But once again, like, nobody has all the answers. And I know that's not what you expect, but I'm with you guys. I'm trying to make sense of all this stuff too. Got to look at the information. We got to put on our critical thinking caps and say, what the hell is going on here? And the info is changing every day. There's new information every single day. So thank you. Could be the case. You could take this entire situation a billion different ways. Thank you. There are some rumors going around online that Bondi is closer to Epstein than we know. Well, listen, I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard that personally. Pam Bondi comes out of Florida. She was the attorney general in Florida State. Epstein had a big presence in where? Florida. Where was his? He had that big estate, that big mansion in Florida. His island off the coast of Florida. He's flying in and out of Florida. Pam Bondi, Attorney General of Florida. So I don't know. If you want to try to connect dots there, I don't know. But maybe there is some amount of overlap. I don't know. Take a look at this super chat here. Derek Rogers says no. I'm not sure no in regards to what, but also no. Yeah, I agree. No. Thank you. No. Thank you. This is from Greg Adamite, one of my favorite viewers. He says, hey, Matt. When Dan and Cash were on Sunday Morning Futures, it seemed to me that Dan did not want to say what he did. This is when he's talking to Bartiromo, when he says, we saw the interview a couple days ago. He says, yeah, Epstein took his own life. It's over. I saw the video. That's what you're talking about. I think you're right. I think he did not want to say that. He just seemed real uncomfortable. Just in my opinion, you're doing great in this format. I think you're right. I think Bongino did not want to say that when he was talking to Bartiromo on Fox News a couple, maybe two and a half months ago. I think you are right. Folks, I said today's going to be a real short, punchy, to the point broadcast. That is all the information I have. These are the breaking news Epstein updates. I think we're going to try to end this broadcast here on a high point. I've got some family stuff going on this afternoon, so I need to go get ready. Hopefully I was able to relay all of this brand new breaking information. This stuff is coming out minute by minute, day by day. So I'm going to try to do a recap with you guys. We are not done talking about this. If you are new here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please make sure to like today's video. Take this information. We do not have a conclusion. This is not a clean wrap it up, package, it's over. No, this is ongoing. But the best I can do is bring this stuff to you guys so you guys know what's going on. You can kind of form your own opinions here and we can kind of talk about this together. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. One final basic request, if you guys have not already, if you could do me a favor and follow me on Twitter, follow that Twitter link, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have a lot more to do. So thank you all very much. Have a great afternoon. Have a great